Welcome to the Orlando Lions Den podcast, your number one Orlando City podcast. For the fans, by the fans. For the fans, by the fans. Keeping you in the know on all things Orlando City since 2018.
Well, hello, everybody. I believe we are live out there to YouTube and Twitter or X, whatever the heck you want to call it. Year 8 of the Lions Den, starting off strong with our first ever opening weekend podcast. We got to talk about an L. Not excited to do that. Cleon's already nodding his head. No, Cleon, my man, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good outside of taking that monstrous L this weekend. That was a little yuck. But other than that, all good as always, man.
Good to hear that, man. Always good to hear that you're doing well. Ryder, down in Naples, I saw you went and checked out your USL side's first practice. Is FC Naples treating you a little bit better so far right now, or what's up?
So far, I mean, they looked better during their open practice than Orlando did the night before. So,
to be completely honest, I went to an open practice at the Citrus Bowl for the first year that we were a team, and they looked awesome. And then we know how that season went. So
that's fair, but it's not fun to come off of the home opener and have to talk about Cleon said it already, a disastrous hell. It's really bad.
Speaking of disastrous outings, so we had our Den After Dark, and we had some good times from Mr. Brown, Mr. Swag over here. How you doing, brother? You had a very heated, impassioned speech that you said felt like only took 3 minutes, but you were talking for about 20 minutes straight.
I said a lot what I wanted to say, but no, I haven't necessarily cooled down either. So that was abysmal. It was horrible. I knew we were gonna have a little letdown, to be honest. Just if it feels like it after we got so far last year, but I didn't expect it to be from the guys that it was from. So
yeah, I definitely didn't expect that, but hey, I guess there's a first time for everything. I guess after 10 straight home openers without a loss, this was bound to happen at some point. Just stinks to see it happen now. So before we do that, on to some good news. If Orlando City makes you drink, boy, do we have an offer for you. Come out to Hourglass Brewing on the 8th to see us. Me and Swag and Cleon will all be there at the Longwood location, re-releasing our No Mango, No Party beer. We got a couple tickets to give away. I got some Orlando City trading cards. We got koozies, all sorts of fun stuff. Going to be bringing it all with us. So we want to see you hang out, watch the game, see if Aaron Judge is there on the baseball field. You never know. He could be there. Honestly, he'd probably make a pretty good goalie because he's a giant. Yeah. So if this team makes you drink with your friends, and that's us. So come on out to Hourglass on the 8th for the watch party. Cappy's food truck is going to be there as well. If you want to bring the kids, I know it's kid friendly. There's also a Lego store right next to this place that is kind of dope. So that, not trying to like pimp it out or anything like that, but it is really cool. So yeah, you can buy Legos, you could drink beer, you could watch Orlando City, you can hang out with us, and possibly win something cool. So we look forward to seeing you guys there.
If Aaron Judge was ever going to step in between the sticks for NYCFC, it's probably against us, because we always seem to get the best out of every goalie that we play against. Pretty standard procedure protocol.
He'd probably be awesome. You're right. Yeah. All right. So that's March 8th, Saturday, 7 p.m. Come on out, hang out with us, drink beer, have good times. And hopefully we get a win this time, because we didn't last time.
Let's just start with scoring a goal.
Yeah, start with scoring a goal. We didn't score a goal last time. That's true.
Yeah.
We'll take a goal. So moving on with our sponsors, Chad McGibbon. If you're looking to buy a house, go ahead and work with a realtor who's also a huge City fan. Check out Chad McGibbon Realty. QR code is on the screen. Anything as far as your home buying questions in the Central Florida area, hit up Chad. He is the man. And when you're trying to buy a house, money is an important part of that. Hit up Leo with the Epic Mortgage team powered by U Mortgage. Got all of his information on the screen here. Interest rates have been okay. I think they're still going down a little bit. I'm not 100% sure because I don't know what's going on in the world fully at the moment, but I know that it's a lot. So feel free to hit up Leo if you have any questions, whether it be in regards to financing, refinancing, mortgaging. He's got you covered. And then last but certainly not least, our man Eddie with Comparion Insurance, home insurance, life insurance, car insurance, iPhone insurance. Eddie's got you covered. Anything that you need, feel free to use the QR code on the screen. He always is looking out for City fans and occasionally people within the organization as well. So he's always got you covered. Eddie is the man, and he will help you out no matter what. So check out Eddie with Comparion Insurance to get all of your insurance needs covered. Whew, man, it is going through that. It's a slog sometimes. But boy, are we good to have our friends sponsoring the show. So with that being said, first home opener loss. Score was 4-2 to the Philadelphia Union. Not exciting. I mean, it started exciting. Marco Pasalic opened in the 8th minute. Debut goal. And that's the fastest debut goal in club history, beating out Daryl Dike, who I believe had a 18-minute debut goal. I believe the club tweeted out. And then there's an equalizer at the end of the first half that could possibly be blamed on a turnover by Ivan Angulo. And then the second half just started as catastrophically as you could hope for. Turnovers at the back by Rodrigo Schlegel and Bracalo not communicating, Pedro not coming for a cross, and Schlegel getting beaten by, or no, Santos getting beat by a short guy, Pedro not protecting his near post. We got a consolation goal at the end, rebound shot from Marco Pasalic. He got his second. He actually came close to getting a hat trick at times, but realistically, just not an overall great performance from the boys. 4-2 defeat, filled with a lot of errors at the back. 4 shots on goal for Philly. All 4 of them found the back of the net. Don't have much to say about that. That sounds nicer. I'll go ahead and go to Ryder first because you had to watch highlights of the first half. You had to watch all the second half, and that's when everything went to crap. So why is it your fault?
I knew that was coming. Yeah, I messaged in the group chat. I had just gotten home from Tampa, and I literally get home, and they're kicking off the second half, and everything goes to crap. I'm like, is this my fault? Do I need to turn it off? And I got told to by you told me to. I didn't end up doing it. Should have done it after the second goal, but it is what it is. So, yeah, the highlights for the first half were literally just the 2 Pasalic shots, the one he did within 45 seconds after kickoff, and then his goal, which it was a nice goal. Congrats to him on scoring in his debut. Definitely going to be chasing that debut card in the fall. But other than that, not a lot of bright spots in the first half and not a lot in the second half. I mean, we got to see Freeman out on the pitch. He looks strong. He looks accurate. He's definitely grown in his ability to control the ball and distribute, but he's dangerous in attack. And I think he's going to be a problem if we can actually get up there, which is, I think, half the problem. But not a good outing, and against the Union of all teams who are slated to honestly have a pretty bad season. So if this is how we're starting the season, it's not going to be great. I didn't even hear Alex Brown's rant, so I don't know if I'm stepping on his toes on that yet, but not a great start to the season.
I mean, Alex's rant is a little bit similar to what Jake is kind of saying in the chat right now. He gave us a whole plan. Bench Rodrigo and Rafa, play Smith and Williams, drop Angulo and play Rodriguez, send Muriel to Disney for the night, bench Dacker Dan and play Freeman. So that's the thoughts. I wouldn't say that Alex necessarily went fully to that extent, but yeah, Alex, go to you next. How you feeling? Let's give your thoughts.
Yeah, I had a little more expletives in between all that. But,
well, this show is supposed to be the censored one. So
yeah. They don't call it 10 After Dark for nothing.
Listen, man, it was a miserable performance. I feel like, you got to keep telling yourself you can't get down after one match. You know what I mean? But we do this every year, and we never do this every year. That makes it a little bit more alarming, in my opinion. To me, sitting there watching our bench guys warm up, I think there was like 4 rookies, basically rookies. I mean, basically guys that have never really gotten meaningful minutes with us warming up, and then with Muriel, that was, and Kyle Smith, who has his own fan club down by where I sit. But it's just it's alarming. The roster build to me is alarming. Thank goodness we hit on Pasalic, because imagine where we would have been in that first game without him. Continuing to count on Angulo, who this guy plays every minute for us, and he plays in an attacking position, and he doesn't score goals, and he doesn't really create chances, but we play him every minute of every match. Pretty much last year is, and not going for an upgrade there is really alarming to me. Schlegel reverted to the mean. Janssen still didn't practice today. It was super, super alarming. And then Santos, man, that guy fell off a cliff. I mean, there was times where he was super dependable in the back, but it looks like all he's really caring about is delivering the balls in and trying to create chances that way, but he's not looking to stop them. So overall, I mean, there's no need to gel. 9 of the 11 guys on the pitch were huge players for us last year, and we got blown out by a team that was horrible. My main point on the Den After Dark was this. It was, we just lost. We got blown out by a team that fired a coach that was many to be considered untouchable, right? Jim Curtin, what he's done in Philadelphia has been, great. He had a fantastic tenure there, and they made a shocking move and fired him. And they didn't really spend a lot. I think they had the record transfer fee of like $3.5 million in the off season, and they come out and they just demolish us with a brand new coach. With a guy who has MLS experience as a coach, and it just, for me, is the Poppy out crowd. You can go back all you want last year and say, oh, we made an Eastern Conference final, and all those people that were like Poppy-inners and people that were saying, wait till the end of the season, trust the process, this and that. Well, listen, we were the closest we've ever been. For all we know, any other coach would have made the MLS Cup final last year. That's how easy the path was, right? I mean, we everything fell our way. 1, 2, 3 seeds get knocked out in the first round. We have home field advantage throughout the Eastern Conference playoff. We beat Atlanta 1-0 off of a corner set piece. And then we lose 1-0. Don't even get a quality shot against the Red Bull at home at the biggest match in the history of Orlando City. So, last year I was saying, all right, I was conceding these people were probably right. But now, as I look into this first opening match, to look at the way the roster's built, as I look at the way Oscar still depends on some of these guys, specifically Ivan Angulo, it's hard not to think like with anybody else if we had Bradley Carnell last year and we had that route to the MLS Cup final, what would have happened? A lot of people just automatically assume that it was an Oscar elevated us, but I don't know. I see a bunch of guys who are comfortable. I mentioned this a lot last year too. See a bunch of guys who are fine with where they're at. Been here 4, 5, 6 years. Know what they're getting. Know they're going to get their minutes. Know they're going to play. And that's not what sports and competition is about. That's not what gets the best out of people. It's not saying, oh, I'm going to play 90 minutes no matter what, because the club didn't sign anybody this offseason. Even though I had 4 goals last year and played every minute, and I'm the starting left winger, the club didn't give me any competition. And my only competition was a rookie, and he tore his ACL. So I'm definitely not getting pulled out. So, yeah, I can dribble the ball out the back, give up a goal 20 seconds later. Yeah, no problem. Schlegel sees Janssen go down, same thing. It's just a bunch of comfortable guys, and And to me, it goes against what sports is and competition is. And, to compete with other teams, you got to compete within first to get to make yourself the best team. That's just, and Tom Brady is a big guy that I think about, right? Because you're like, that guy never had to compete with anybody. No, but he competed with himself every single day. And some of these guys, I don't even think are doing that right now. So,
oof, that's rough. I will also add to that, just from my perspective, one thing as well is Carnell likes to coach that high press energy drink soccer that has also always been like Poppy's demise. The Red Bulls always play it, has always given him trouble. Now, Carnell coming in from St. Louis brought that style with him, continues to give Poppy struggles. Cleon, do you have anything else that you want to add in regards to that as far as like, I don't know, what went wrong? Like, because it seemed like it was just a lot of mistakes, like back-to-back mistakes just compounding on top of each other.
Really, for me, it was mostly defensive. Offensive, it looked pretty much there. Pasalic was fine. Of course, he got his 2 goals, stuff like that. Muriel, who even huh?
You said at the same time I did. Muriel.
Oh. Even Muriel, who we kind of give him a stick for. Even he was dangerous. I mean, he didn't finish, which has been the main problem since he's been here. But he was even dangerous coming in. Freeman was dangerous coming in. The attack was fine, bro, but it was just a lot of it was just the same stuff from last year that we had issues with, and Pedro, who I thought had regressed last year. I didn't realize how much he had regressed. I actually started looking into it after the last match, and like I didn't realize he was that bad last year. He was like way below average last season. I thought it was just the first half and then he was fine, but he wasn't. So he was way back, and then the start here didn't look good at all. He was, if you go by like the basically goals allowed, like over expected and things like that. They say he was negative 1.72 out of the 4. You know what I mean? Saying that it was those were goals that most keepers were going to stop that he allowed. So I mean, it just was not good. And then Schlegel's, I mean, how long have you been talking about this? You know what I mean? Like he'll play well or decent enough for 97, 98% of the game. But then when when the mistakes you do make are critical and always give up goals and things like that, or whether it's a goal or you're giving up a penalty in the box or whatever the case is, like how he's clearly mistake prone and not a guy you should rely on for an entire match. You know what I mean? If he has to sub in, whatever, you sub him in, you hope we get through these minutes without him doing something stupid, and that's it. You know what I mean? But I mean, the guy's mistake prone. He's one of the most mistake prone center backs in the entire league, and has been.
Now, I just want to, I kind of want to jump in here for a quick second, and then I'll let you get back to it. And that's just because, like, listening to some of our friends at Soccer Wise, they were kind of talking about our game, and they realistically weren't like sure if this was just a catastrophic game by us, or maybe Philly's that good. But one of the things that they mentioned is they kind of dogged Bracalo a little bit for that goal where Schlegel mishandled it, and then they put it into an empty net. And like, I went back and rewatched the highlights. That ball was definitely getting passed with enough power that Schlegel could have let it run and then started to switch the ball to the other side of the field. And instead, Schlegel decided to go ahead and touch it with his Bambi on ice foot. And it just launched directly out in front of him like he had no control. Like, I also feel like, and this is my other issue too, is I don't want to give Bracalo too much crap because he wasn't expecting to come into that game and start until 15 minutes before it. And as someone who's been like not at a professional level by any means, so like obviously, take my view with a grain of salt, but as someone who's been played competitive sports, been an athlete before. You prepare a little bit differently when you know you're going to start versus when you know you're going to be coming in off the bench. And I feel like that also kind of goes into his psyche. And granted, I feel like the second half ended up being a little bit worse, but I'm not trying to dog him for that, how that went. But I don't know. I just felt it was weird that they kind of tried to dog Bracalo for that, because I rewatched the highlight and I just feel like that was much more Schlegel's fault.
I agree with that as well.
So
it was, and I was gonna move from from Schlegel to Bracalo, but you pretty much hit on what I was gonna say. Even with the slight miscommunications and things like that, at the end of the day, he wasn't even supposed to start. You know what I mean? And then he's just put in. And so far when he's been in, he hasn't been as error prone as like a Rodrigo. You know what I mean? Rodrigo is the common denominator in the scenario where this crap happens, and he's usually involved. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just frustration, because it's a lot of it is things that we already know are issues, and we just kind of keep letting it slide by. You know what I mean? Even if you want to go back as far as when Mauricio was here, us never having something behind him. You know what I mean? And then it went from the Mauricio thing, never having someone behind him, which even last year, technically we didn't even have the 10s. You know what I mean? Ojeda kind of got forced up into that role, but I don't think that was his intended role. He got in it and he played well, or at least better than anybody else on our team that played it. But even that was almost dumb luck, if you will. You know what I mean? Yeah. It wasn't an intended consequence. Then when you sit there and you got, that's a role that's just never been filled. Then the sixes, the double sixes, what if one gets injured? How long have you been talking about it? And then we never go to fill it. You know what I mean? That's Westa's here now, but that's after Wilder was hurt. We still need another. Things like that. Like it's the goalkeeping right now, especially with Pedro falling off a cliff, basically. And I'm not saying that just after the last game, but apparently he's been off a cliff, including last season. So I mean, and then we go to get worse at goalkeeper. Mind you, I wasn't sold. I know a lot of y'all are, but I was not sold even on Mason being a backup, which he actually had played well. If you look at his advanced numbers, things like that, he had played well for the time he had got. But even me, I wasn't even sold on that. Like I wanted like a solid, like, okay, I don't have to worry about it, keeper behind, especially since Pedro's always gone, things like that. With call ups and things like that, and then our tournaments and Open Cup and this, that, or whatever. We do use backup keeper. So then to go all the way down to Otero, which it's just wild to me, bro. So it's like it's worrisome. Like I'm not so much worried about the score of itself. The first game being 4-2 is very disappointing. Did not expect to lose that, especially not 4-2, things like that. But it's more the worry for me comes more in the outlook overall on the season, and just like the obvious issues we have in certain holes. We have certain holes in the roster to where I feel like it's gonna really bite us bad. You know what I mean? So it's concerning, man.
Not to mention the fact that we've got 2 missing starters, and we might have lost a third. I mean, or 2 definites, one that we were going to rely on a lot. And it's like you were saying earlier, looking at the bench players, there's not I think it was Alex saying that it's not a lot. These are all very young guys, and I'm all for the next man up mentality, but we didn't do ourselves any favors in the window by not filling some of those holes. And it's just worse because we're starting the season so injured. We have no idea how long Jansen's going to be out because, again, the club doesn't tell us anything.
Him not practicing definitely is not a good thing. And I'm going to just, I'm going to be the bearer of bad news and news flash to a lot of their, I agree with what you said. We could have, I would have liked to have seen us done more, but the league is very complicated to understand the salary and roster rules. If anyone wants to see the crappy spreadsheet that I put together, I did a lot of math to try and figure it out. Guys, frankly, we don't have money. Like, I don't think that there's money in the cap that we were able to bring in more players. Like, maybe we could bring in a couple like cheaper vets, but unfortunately, there's just not a lot of room for us to make additional moves, which is crazy to say. I think that with getting rid of, buying out Nico Ladero, that's going to afford us some freedom. But frankly, like, our cap position's not in a healthy spot. I see Jake asking, where did the Facu money go? They changed the rules of that going into this year, where because of his sale, we were most likely not able to transition any of the money from his sale into GAM. So we don't have that extra potential 3 million or 1.2 million that it would have been previously. We weren't able to generate that. So thanks for the rule changes twice in a row before the season screw us over. But again, we also should have been prepared for stuff like that. It's not like it should have been a shock to the team that those kind of rules were changing. You should be prepared for any kind of rule changes happening. But, I do want to go ahead and just highlight 2 comments out here. One from David G. Just mentioning, if Poppy can't beat a high press squad, it's damning to him a bit. It goes back to the idea that he can't be very flexible with his tactics. Dude, that's the high press is like it's always been like his Achilles heel, That's why
Instead
when
of
we
trouble with the curve, it's trouble with the high press.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the fact that in the game against the Open Cup game against New York Red Bulls, when we wiped the floor with them 5-1, that was the most shocking result I've ever seen, in my opinion, under Oscar Pareja, because that's the type of team and the type of coaching that he's always had tough times against. And it's one of those things, you see him beat that and have that moment. You're like, oh, things have changed. And then you get to the playoffs and he goes back to coaching the same way against the high press. Like, I don't know what changes from week to week, but I don't know if anyone else has anything else to add to that before we move on. No. And the other one, I want to shout out Rosie here, mentioning that Muriel got robbed by Blake on that header. It was perfect cross. He barely had to jump. LOL. Yeah, I mean, we joke about the fact that he doesn't always move that well because he, but I agree. That was an excellent save by Blake. And I feel like that's the joke that Brown was making a little bit earlier, where he was saying that, put Aaron Judge in goal. He's going to have his best game as a goalie possible in front of us. Blake's been kind of on the downturn last year, and he had a stellar game against us, including that save. So
that's gotta be Eddie, right?
That's Eddie logged in. Gotta be.
That's gotta be Eddie, right?
I didn't even think about that. That is Eddie. 100%. I didn't
Eddie,
even think.
Switch over to your YouTube account.
I will be in shock if that's Rosie.
Yeah, I didn't even. Dude, I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. Eddie,
I'll be shocked if she watched the game, let alone is commenting on one of our
Eddie's
pods
in the
that
picture.
Eddie's not even on.
Eddie, you got the link. You could just join the podcast, man. You're here. Like, now you're out here confusing me that you're your wife. God. Oh man, I feel so dumb right now.
There's no way.
I feel so dumb.
No way.
But anywho, now that I'm an idiot, do you guys want to know the funniest thing? Is that up until they adjusted stats on FootMob, we had the highest expected goals this week, and still lost 4-2.
Don't get me started. Dude.
I know. I'm trying to poke the bear. I want to have to upload this to Spotify and hit the explicit tag.
Listen, I was driving to the stadium. I was expecting to have 0 margaritas. I actually had 2. I lost. It's like, who cares about expected whatever, man? When you got Pedro in goal, like Leon said, giving up, and Rodrigo Schlegel, both them doing, idiotic mistakes. That statistic ain't right.
Chris Santos, let's not forget him, because that joke.
Like, what was that goal?
Guilty as charged right along with him.
Where Rodrigo gave up. I know, Mike, you may have it off the top, but the goal that Rodrigo gave up on that error. What was that? What was that expected goal?
I can find it for you. Give me 2
Probably
seconds.
like 0.4. As soon as Rodrigo touched the ball off, everybody in the whole stadium knew it was 1.0 expected goals. So where do they come up with these stats, dude?
Technically, that one was because it was so far outside of the box. That was actually
But
0.07.
that's why it's a stupid stat. Like we all there's 24,000 people in the stadium, and it was 24,000 expected goals, 1.0. That we all knew it was going to be a goal. That's it, and it's like 0.4 or 0.45 or something like that. Like, what a dumb stat, man! I can't take people seriously with the expected goals, man. I can't. Like you said, Mike. I think you pointed it out. On the one goal we had on Pasalich's second goal.
Yep.
That
I can give you the
sequence
numbers.
was 1.5 expected goals. The whole
Yeah.
sequence. Where if Muriel would have hit the first one, it was 0.4. But because miss and then get the goal, we actually got 1.5 expected goals for that. Like what the stat that right there says the stat is worthless to me. Because the other 1.1 expected goals on that would have never happened if Muriel doesn't somehow duff a sitter. Literally an open goal sitter off the post. That we pay $4.5 million for. His header was great, yeah, sure, but dude, $4.5 million for that to swing your boot 3 yards out and somehow hit the crossbar. I'm just saying. How is one sequence where we actually get one goal equal 1.5 expected goals? The whole stat is a joke. Don't be coming up into me with expected goals.
That's
There's
why
a
I
double
always
going
say
joke in there somewhere.
well, no, we're not in Chicago, so but I will always say that's my thing with expected goals. If you're going to go ahead and speak expected goals, speak context to them as well. Game state adds to expected goals. That's part of it. That situation was ridiculous. We hit the post twice. Those 2 shots that hit the post were 0.6 and 0.5 expected goals. Like those 2 were 1.1 on their own. Like the one that actually went in the net was like 1.3. It was like 0.3. Like sometimes they just don't make sense. Like I like the next level analytics. Like Cleon was kind of showing us some spreadsheets, or not some spreadsheets, but some FB rep stuff earlier this week. We were talking about like defenders and whatnot, and they keep track of like errors per 90. And like Robin Janssen last year was in the 84th percentile because he was averaging pretty much 0 errors per 90 minutes. Meanwhile, Rodrigo Schlegel was in like the 11th percentile because of how many errors per 90 minutes that he's prone to. Like, granted, that doesn't mean he's having errors every game, but it's just one of those things you kind of look at those analytics and you're like, ugh, like, what are we looking at here? But now that we got done ranting about stats a little bit, I do want to just mention that Jake mentioned that he said that, Rosie, it seems like you know more than your husband does. And then he said he's hiding his hot take. There we go. Here's Eddie. I'm hiding my hot takes behind my wife's name. I appreciate that. Oh, geez. Oh, God, that's funny. Anyways, it's time for our favorite segment of the show. Talk some stock up, stock down. I feel like there's not a lot of positives, and there's a lot more negatives in this one, but we'll do our best. Swag, I'll go to you first. Give me your stock up. Give me your stock down.
Stock up to the 3 guys who aren't poppyfied yet, who aren't brainwashed, and actually can produce at a nice rate. So stock up to those 3 guys: Pasalic, Atuesta, and even Rodriguez coming in off the bench. Stock down, it's got to go to the pitch. Literally got to be one of the worst pitches in MLS. You can tell they put precisely maybe in the hundreds of dollars investment into the pitch, maybe. I don't think it's in the tens, but maybe the hundreds, which for a franchise that is worth $350 million, we should probably invest a little more in the pitch. The same pitch that has also seen a torn Achilles, a torn ACL, and whatever happened to Janssen in pregame warmups all happen in matches so far this season. So I don't think that's a coincidence. And unfortunately, you're getting these non-contact injuries going down on what is arguably got to be one of the worst pitches in the league. I mean, it was horrible. It was, I mean, looking at it, being 4 or 5 rows up, oh, dude, where the players were warming up, I mean, I can go to any high school in Orange County. I am not joking you. And it would have been a better place for people to warm up than what those guys are warming up at. It's a shame.
From an injury perspective, we're putting up MetLife field numbers right now.
Dang it! I was going to make that joke.
Yeah.
I'm a Giants fan. You can't beat me to it. I'm full of self-loathing. So
I mean, when you have the non-contact injuries that we've had, and then you see the pitch that they've occurred on, it's kind of hard not to make draw a line between the two. Because, dude, I'm not joking, man. I mean, I can go down here to the high school that's 2 miles away, and the field's going to be in better shape.
Do you think, like, just to be kind of like petty, do you think we could get a sponsorship from Miracle Grow?
We need a sponsorship for whoever does those lights, because the UV lights, because I mean, it's been cold. We had a long stretch of cold, I'm sure, but I don't know, man. It's bad. It's real.
There's probably
bad.
nicer grass outside Mike's house right now.
Actually, it's hold up pretty good right now. But I honestly, I will say that I'm cheating on the team this weekend. For my friend's birthday, I'm actually going to the Rapids game since I live up here now on Saturday. If that field is doing well, we have no excuses, because they also got like 8 to 12 inches of snow recently. Like, so no excuses.
So far, Alex Brown is Poppy out and the entire field maintenance staff out. Is that what we're at so far for the season, Alex?
I'm not sure we even have one of those, but yeah,
They can't be out if they don't exist.
yeah. It's an investment in the club. The Wilfs got rated A+ today by the NFLPA, the Players Association, for how they handle the Vikings. And to me, it's pretty clear that arguably, I think we're third on the list, Orlando City is, of their priorities. And I think the Pride are second behind the Vikings. They see the potential to get more butts in seats. They see the potential to increase revenue. They see a growing league like the NWSL. And I think we're at the bottom of the barrel, man, and for Orlando City, for the Wilfs. And the epitome, the show of it is the pitch. That just shows to me, yeah, they made $14 million, whatever, off Facu, spent $7 million. You know, there's teams. I looked at Tom tweeted today, and he's like, Atlanta still has 2 U22 slots available. They spent $50 million this offseason. We spent $5.5 million. I mean, it's not looking good here, boys and gals. That's just it's not looking good.
That's why, like, I know people like to mention, don't compare yourselves to others, but like, when it's an arms race in the conference, sometimes you got to compare yourself to others. You got to look at what's around you and say, sometimes what we're doing just isn't enough if you want to keep up. Right now it feels like if things don't start turning around relatively quick, I know it's one game, not trying to overreact too much, at least not me personally. But like, maybe things should have been handled better. I don't know. Cleon, give me your stock up and stock down. Sitting there stewing on it.
My stock down. God, I don't want to pick one guy. I want to pick like 3, man.
I mean, you got 3 of us left, so maybe if you just pick one, we'll pick the other 2.
Only 3?
I'm gonna go with Pedro, but is his stock really down? Because like, who can even take his job?
I mean,
so it's like,
Otero's
like
big.
His stock's not down, but it's just becoming abundant that he's not as good as we think right now. You know what I mean?
I mean, I can say with certainty he's not playing to his contract.
Yeah, like he's on.
Like, that's at least that's the easiest way. That's the easiest.
Right,
that's the easiest way to say it, is he's not playing to his contract.
Yeah,
you're the second highest paid goalkeeper in the league last year. If you're letting in 4 goals on 4 shots, you're not playing to your contract.
Yeah. I definitely have him on fraud watch right now. So, but the thing is like you said, there's no comp behind him. Well, not what you said. What Alex said. Like, dude's just comfortable, man. Like, who's gonna take his job? He could let him 4 goals. You gonna put in Otero? I don't think so. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, man. I'll go out. Like I said, I'll go with Pedro, but it's kind of just symbolic because dude's stock really ain't down because there's no other option.
Goes to what Alex said earlier about competition.
Yeah, there's none. There's less than last year.
Well, do you have a stock up?
Oh yeah. Stock up. Oh my gosh. I'll leave him. No, I'll take him since you put me first. Yeah, Marco, man. Of course. Marco. I put that stock up for Eddie. Eddie was doubting the man. I said, hey man. Hey, that dude's a ball hog, man. You know, I like that. I'm with it. So stock up Marco for sure.
Fair enough. How about you, Ryder? What do you got?
I'm going to give stock up to Williams. I think he had a great. You don't think so?
He didn't play.
Oh, I'm thinking Freeman. God, I'm doing every year. Every year, I always get players mixed up. Freeman. I think Freeman looked good.
Don't say it, Cleon.
You know I'm looking at the date, right?
Anyway,
go ahead. Keep it moving. That's my boy. Alex is my boy, man. So I'm messing with my boy, Alex.
Freeman looked good. I think he's got a chance to at least compete. We're talking about competing a little bit. And I think he's got a chance to compete. The sad thing is Dagger is still looking at least decent. It's not like he's going to necessarily lose it. There's a chance he gets moved to the other side of the pitch with Santos looking as bad as he did. And honestly, I'm just going to throw it right to Santos. I think it's like you guys said earlier, he's fallen off a cliff. I think he looked bad in the playoff run last year. I think he did not come into the season looking any better. So that's all I got to say about that.
I'm going to go with that, what you just said. I'm going to go with, I said this on Twitter after the game. Well, I don't know if it was after the game or during the game. I said, bro, like, I didn't say Dagger might not lose his job, but he might get it snatched, bro.
Yeah.
That's one of those cases to where you lose your job, but it ain't because you're playing poorly. It's just dude outperforming. You know what I mean?
Someone's looking better. It happens. Yeah. That's sports.
Yeah. It happens, man.
I know some people were like in your replies being like, well, he can't be off the field. I'm like, yeah, he can.
Yeah, he can.
Like it's not like we're paying him. Honestly, it's not like money matters that much. I mean, if Muriel's making $4.5 million, clearly you'd think he should be on the field, but he ain't, so it is what it is. For me, I'm going to go ahead and stock up. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Martin Ojeda. 2 of our 3 DPs really came through in this game. Martin Ojeda still looked sharp. And I think the thing that is going to help this team going forward, and something that I'm optimistic about, Martin Ojeda and Facundo Torres used to always get in the same pockets and occupy the same space consistently. I feel like Pasalic and Ojeda are going to be a little bit different in that regard. They're going to be a little bit more separated, and I think that's what's going to help open Pasalic up and be something that kind of helps Ojeda be up there as far as the league goes in assists. I also think Atuesta, granted he's not a good defender, that is well known. He still had bright moments with passing the ball. Far from perfect, but he was okay. And then stock down, none of you guys said it. Schlegel, we've talked about him enough. He's the clear stock down, I feel like, for me. So and then where was it? I guess that brings us, if we don't have anything else on stock up, stock down, shout out grounds crew. I think that was a smart one. We got Toronto on Saturday at home. Looks like Lorenzo Insigne has been completely blacklisted from the team. He's not playing. He's not on the bench. They didn't have a whole lot of money to go out and sign new players because they were expecting him to be gone. I hate to go this way this early in the season, but kind of feels like a game you absolutely have to win. Get 3 points at home. I don't know. What do you guys think? Not all at once.
The only must win. We had a must win. I've learned that the only must wins are in the playoffs. If Oscar Pareja and this team has taught me one thing, it's that.
Well, you got a must win to get to the playoffs first, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's against the bottom dweller of a team. Honestly, a team that was that's been god awful. That didn't do much this offseason except have drama. And yeah, I mean, it's not a must win, but like for morale, and you don't want to go to NYC and Yankee Stadium 0-2, on the season. That's just my opinion. I do think we'll win. But man, with how our defense is and how it was, it's kind of anything can happen. That's the one thing. It's like anything can happen. It's not in a good way. Anything can happen either. It's in a if we're gonna let up goals, we've always said with Oscar Pereira, yeah, the only good thing about the way that he coaches is that you if you don't let up goals, you can't lose, but you got to score goals to win. But if you let up a lot of goals, it's really, really, really hard to win. So with our defense, the way it's been, I just hope these guys have an awakening, and I hope Reklo can do better with knowing that he's going to be starting. Hopefully, Schlegel and Santos can shake off some rust, whatever it may be. But I don't have a lot of faith, but I do have faith we'll win this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, like I said, I don't like using the term so early in the season, but I mean, some of you guys looked at me crazy when I said I projected us to finish 8th in the East. This is kind of why. And only thing is, I will say it's amplified if Janssen's out for a decent term. Like we're thin at center back. Like I'm happy that Tommy Williams beefed up, but we also haven't seen him play. So it's one of those things. I don't know if he's ready. I don't know.
Can we just talk about how Schlegel was the captain?
Seen him playing OCB, and he wasn't that great.
I was confused by that. I expected when Janssen went out that Pedro would have been the captain.
Yeah, it should have been Pedro.
I was a little bit shocked to see it go to
Rodrigo ain't never worn the armband because you couldn't even see it because he had a shirt over it over most of the game. But man, honestly, when I seen him come out with the armband, I was like,
that was shocking to me, bro. That was shocking to me.
Yeah, because I was a little bit late getting to watch the game.
If you had told me it was going to end up on someone, I would have guessed even freaking Eto'o, who just got here before it landed on Schlegel, bro.
Yeah, I was shocked.
He's a poppy guy, He's a poppy guy. Makes sense.
Ojeda's got to be the captain if Janssen is out. And if Schlegel rolls out with the armband, I'm going to be like, man, I think Ojeda's got to be the guy, or Pedro. But if you want it to be a field player, it's got to be Martin. Just my opinion.
I would agree with that. Like I said, it was surprising for me. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind Cesar as
I could have seen
over
Cesar.
that.
I could have seen Eto'o, even Ojeda. But yeah, that was surprising.
I will say that as of right now, all we know today, going into today, is that Robin Janssen did not practice this morning. So I'm going to go ahead and say you can expect him to be out on Saturday. Hopefully we find out what it is that's ailing him. But Wilder Cartagena is on SEI. We just found out Yutaro Sakata got added to the season-ending injury list. So that's 2 names down. Knock on wood, hope and pray, cross your fingers, hope to die that Robin Janssen is not going there as well, because that is the last thing that we need. But with that being said, I guess unless anyone else has anything else to add, it's time for some predictions against Toronto. Ryder, I'll start with you, my man. What's happening in this game?
It's like you guys said, it's not a 3-alarm fire must-win game, but I think we got to win this game. I just don't have the faith we're going to, especially if Janssen's out, especially if we keep playing defensively like this and not taking advantage of all the great offensive firepower we have. And if Poppy sticks to his guns, like if we see the same 11 out there, it's an L. But I'm going to have faith enough to say it's going to be a draw, 2-2.
Oh, you're going to see the same 11 out there. I can tell you that right now. I can tell you that right now. He's not going to make a change after one game. Cleon, what's your prediction?
So,
what do you think?
What I say for this one, and ended up 4-2 against us. I think I said 3-1 probably. something like that. I'm gonna go 3-1 again. Maybe I'll be right this time. 3-1.
Okay.
Us.
3-1. Good. Important to
To be
clarify
clear.
that.
3-1 us.
It's important to clarify that these days.
Yeah, my bad.
Alex, what do you got?
I'm also going to say 3-1, and let's see a Pasalic Hattie.
Okay.
I think the guy's just going to score goals, man. I think he's got the team around him. He's got guys that want to pass and get him the ball. You know, I'm really high on this guy. I think, you know, and you know, I think he was close to. I thought he was going to have a hat trick in his first match. I know Ryder would have been loving that.
JJ,
even if they would've
Oh,
lost.
dude, I would have loved that
JJ
so
kept
much.
walking up. JJ kept walking up the steps every time after he scored. He's like, "Which one? Which one?" They like, "This two."
Wasn't he texting it to us too?
Yeah,
was.
but he moved sections this year. Now he's like real close to my section. So now he comes and talks his crap in person.
Oh, we love that. We do. I'm going to predict a win as well, just because it has to be a win. That's something I usually always have done on this show, is especially if it has to be a win, I'm going to predict a win. So I'm going to go 3-2 though. I think we're still going to let 2 goals in, just because the defense is a little leaky right now. Give me a goal from Enrique, a goal from Pasalic, and a goal from Ojeda. Give me that triumvirate. Each one of them gets a goal. I feel like it's going to have to click at some point, and we need it to click sooner rather than later, because I've kind of said as well, I don't think that this team can handle a midway through the season heat up like we did last year. They have to get it together sooner than that, especially with there not being multiple competitions that they're trying to compete in to start the season. It's just league play. That's all you have to worry about right now. So I can't keep taking L's, especially to 2 teams back to back that you should beat, you know. So this one's got to be a dub. That's it, plain and simple. Which probably means we're getting a red card in like the 10th minute. So,
Listen, man,
sorry.
I already said you don't want to go to Yankee Stadium.
0-2.
0-2. I mean, we're great on the road, but we're not great there.
We're not great on the tiny pitch,
And you know,
on
you
the
don't
short
want to
porch in
have,
left field.
you know, and then you got to go to Red Bull. I just, you know, you don't win this game, man. I don't know. Imagine having 0 points or even 1 point through 4. Trust the process. I get it. What we've done the last 2 years, but man, like the something's got to give. Something's got to change. Just my opinion. It's been that way. And honestly, I said it last year after an Eastern Conference final. People thought I was crazy. I still would have canned Poppy. I still would have done it. The way that we lost was unacceptable, and there wasn't anything. The only reason that people were saying to keep him is because he has 1 more year on his contract. That's it. Oh, so let's just give away a year, and then next year it'll be a rebuild year. So we're just going to give away 2 years after we went to an Eastern Conference final. I don't know. I'm disappointed. I'm down because we did go to an Eastern Conference final. We had a chance for our billionaire owners to say, we were 1 step away. We're 1 step away. We're going to sell our DP. We're going to nail another DP. This one DP that we had, he's not getting it done. So we're going to buy him out, and then we're going to sign another one. I don't care what it costs, because we're 1 step away from MLS Cup. But instead, we're nickel and diamond. We're profiting. We're not putting money into the pitch even. You know, we're adding video boards into the stadium so people can see the history of the kits. It's like, you know, fan engagement. The only sort of fan engagement I want is W's.
And I would love to see a W going into our watch party as well. Like, give us some good vibes going into that. I don't want to feel down right now. Like, I feel down after this first week. Let's feel positive going into hanging out with the boys and drinking beers and eating cappies and watching at Hourglass Brewing. Right?
Oh, yeah.
To quote my all-time favorite, Stone Cold, can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
There we go. Cleon, I'm a little disappointed that the one wrestling guy in the chat did not give me a hell yeah as well.
He's eating his cupcake.
I don't care that he's eating his cupcake. Stone Cold would eat cupcakes and
You
say,
gotta
hell
snitch,
yeah.
Alex. I've been over here trying to hide it, man. Trying to keep it out the camera, and you over here snitching on me.
We all know. All right, guys. Shout out time. Cleon, are we shouting out cupcakes?
No, man. I got a shout out though. I don't know if it's a shout out or a gripe. I got with y'all. More than just y'all in the chat. The rest of y'all in the group chat too.
Oh boy.
I'm tired of y'all disparaging me and complaining about my morning tweets and videos I send.
Your unhinged stuff?
Dog, you can't send messages before noon. I already told you this.
Right through jail.
I'm innocent.
I'm like,
bro.
I'm always nervous. Today, the one that you sent, it wasn't. I didn't even get like the, you send the tweet, and then there's like you could see like the pin of the video, like what it looks like. It just came in a link, and I was like, oh no. I'm like, I didn't even know. But then I had to press
You know what's
it.
crazy? Sometimes when I send them, I like to have a slight pause in hitting send, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe they're around company, maybe they're at work. Things like that. Maybe but I don't know, bro. I just go ahead and hit send.
It's not safe for work stuff, but it's not like what you would think to be not safe for work either. It's like that is disgusting. Like it's not safe because I don't want anybody to see that I'm looking at this.
It's stuff that you look at and you're like, that's a minute of my life I'm never gonna get back.
Like honestly, it's
now you're on a
half
list.
The stuff is safe for work, and I'm just like, but I don't want people to know that this is on my feed. Your algorithm
browser history
is
now
messed up.
Yeah,
bro.
my algorithm's nuts, bro. I don't know where it comes from.
Toilet bowl punch, dude. I still can't forgive you for that one.
Again, that's not even remotely like the worst of the stuff that we've seen. Like that was actually pretty tame. It's just like, who in the hell would drink punch if they make it in a goddamn toilet? Like I'm very white. That's way too white for me, man. Like there's that section of like of white people TikTok where they just be doing stuff and someone just needs to call the cops.
And that's Cleon's algorithm.
It's a cry for help. and if somehow that ends up in Cleon's feed and he's just all like, what are you white people up to? And I'm just like, no, not that.
I'm innocent. I can't control what shows up on my feed. And I feel like if I have to see it, all of you have to see it too.
There's times when I see some stuff and I'm like, I had to see this, so I should share it. But then I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't.
But for some reason, after 12 o'clock, like it's all normal stuff. But when it's before noon, I'm like, this is not going to be good.
Well, it was all normal today until Adam told us about his construction project. So, anywho, Swag, what's your shout out?
Nah, I mean, I don't really. I
shout out Cappies.
I shout out the grounds crew already. So
since y'all already snitched me out,
so I think I did good on that one. But no, man, shout out to the watch party. I'm excited, and we'll get some stuff to give away. And we had a great turnout last time, and I'm excited for this time. And hopefully, like I said, I don't want to win. I just want one goal. It'd be fun to celebrate a goal with people. I'll take a win, but let's start with the goal. So
and
shout out to that. Thanks for putting that together again, Mike. And I'm glad you're going to be here for it.
Yeah, I'm excited to fly down. I'm flying down Friday night. I'm flying into Tampa though, so I could go spend time with my folks. So that way they get to see me. So I'm bringing my parents, and I think my cousin might come too. So I'm trying to bring like family out, so that way they all get to hang out with me. So yeah, you guys are gonna meet my crazy family. So have fun with that. And yeah, I also want to shout out Hourglass too, because they're gonna be putting it up on the big screen at the location we were at last year. They had just like 5 TVs going around the bar. Here they actually have like a big projector on the wall. So it's going to be on that. So I think that's going to help out a lot. Nice big screen. They said they're going to have the audio up, and we're going to all enjoy some beers, and hopefully get a nice video of all of us celebrating and going crazy. But at the same time, please be respectful of the environment. They're nice. They're nice enough to ask us to be there, and we appreciate that. I don't need it to look like that one video of England scoring in the World Cup where the pub starts just throwing drinks everywhere. I feel like they'll kick us out and never invite us back. So
A waste of beer.
it is a waste of beer. Yeah, you know. All right, Ryder, what do you got for a shout out?
Quick one. Savannah Bananas were in Fort Myers 2 weeks ago. I've been waiting 3 years to go watch that. So much fun. It puts a completely different spin on baseball. Banana ball.
Oh, it's baseball.
Yeah, it's like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
Hey, I heard Savannah Bananas, bro. My mind was somewhere completely different.
Clear up, like what
His
is
mind-
like that, bro. Names
his
that rhyme
mind
like that,
went-
My mind went somewhere way different.
His mind went pre-noon group chat.
Yeah, he was definitely thinking he was seeing that on his algorithm tomorrow about 10:45 in the morning.
Savannah Banana. I was like, oh,
Insanely
My bad.
entertaining, a lot
Carry
of
on.
fun. Just 20,000 people just enjoying a fun sporting event that is just good entertainment. So I had more fun there than I have had watching Orlando so far this year. So
Yeah, it's not hard.
Sometimes that's what it takes. Well, with that being said, guys, let's all regroup. It's a bad week to start. We got Toronto on Saturday. Looking forward to it. Someone else is going to have to host the Den After Dark because I'm not going to be available. So appreciate whoever can take that. We'll figure it out later. But if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching on Twitter, if you're listening on or watching on Spotify, whatever, leave good reviews. We appreciate you guys. As always, the Vamos Orlando. And if you don't listen to our podcast before that, we'll see you all on the 8th at Hourglass Brewing. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Orlando Lions Den podcast. Don't forget to follow us at Orlando Lions Den on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. See you next week in the Den.